Vocabulary Lesson 10-7.
Uniform probability model is a model in which each outcome has an equal probability of occurring. Theoretical probability is what should occur in a probability experiment. And the example is the probability of an event is equal to the number of favorable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. Experimental probability is what actually occurs in a probability experiment, and that's the probability of an event equals the number of actual divided by the number of possible. Notes 10-7, theoretical and experimental probability. The objective is to find and compare experimental and theoretical probabilities, predict the actions of a larger group, the Common Core state standards are listed, and the mathematical practices. Theoretical and experimental probability. Find and compare experimental and theoretical probabilities, round to the nearest whole percent. The table shows the result of an experiment in which a number cube was rolled. Find the experimental probability of rolling a 2 for this experiment. I roll a 2. We also need to figure out the total, so we add those up, and we get 29. So the probability of getting a 2 is 6 out of 29, which simplifies to 20.68, or if we round it to 21%. Find the theoretical probability of rolling a 2. Well, on a die, there's 1 2 out of 6. So 1 out of 6, which equals 16.6 repeating, which is approximately equal to 17%. How do the experimental probability compare to the theoretical probability? Experimental was greater than theoretical because it's 21% for experimental, and the theoretical is 17%. A coin was tossed 40 times and heads came up 18 times. Find the experimental probability of getting tails. So if heads came up 18 times out of 40, that means that tails came up 22 times. So we take 22 out of the 40 to give us 11/20ths, which is equal to 55%. The theoretical is 1 out of 2, because you could get heads or tails, which is equal to 50%. So how did the experimental probability compare to theoretical probability? Experimental was greater than theoretical, because 55% is greater than 50%. Make predictions. You can use theoretical or experimental probability to predict future events. Find experimental probabilities and make a prediction. The table shows the results of a survey that asked 200 teens what they would be doing if they were not online. Out of a similar group, 450 teens predict how many would watch TV. Calculate the experimental probability. So the probability of how many students watch TV is the number of students who said they watch TV, which would be 50, over the total, which the total is 200. So that gives us 1/4, or 25%. Use the percent proportion or percent equation to make a prediction. So here's our percent proportion and percent equation, so you can write that down as we fill in the information. So the part is what we're trying to find out, so it's A over the whole, which is the total 450, is what we're going to predict, is equal to our 25% out of our 100. That was the 25% out of the 200 teens surveyed. Do your cross products to get it in the form of a one-step equation. So we get 100A is equal to 11,250. Divide both sides by 100. So we get A is equal to 112.5, which is about 113 teens. We could also use the percent equation, which is A is equal to your percent as a decimal times your 450. You will get the same answer, 112.5, which is about 113 teens.